am joined by the great RG3 Robert Griffin III. When did you hit your growth spurt? I'm still waiting on mine.
I hit my, but I was 5'5", and I was dunking.
Damn.
I had bunnies. I had the bunnies then, and I got the bunny now.
Yeah. My kids play. He hit me. I was like, welcome to football. I'm trying to get back that old none of that new right?
Hardest hit I ever took in the NFL. If he did that today, he'd be in prison. Okay?
You were born in Japan.
I haven't been back to Japan yet.
You would stick out like a sore thumb, like, look at this black 6'4" man. They'll be like, you do something, right?
I called my agent immediately.
Yeah.
I'm distraught. DJ, I'm distraught. I'm like, oh my God, they took all the money out. Where is the 14 million?
Oh, it's 15-time world champion, Demetrious Johnson. You're listening to the MightyCast.
What's going on, guys? This episode of the MightyCast is sponsored by PrizePicks. Now, PrizePicks is a daily fantasy sports game where you can play directly from your phone. It's very simple. Go to your app store, download PrizePicks, and when you do that, make sure you use my promo code MightyCast. Cool promotion going on right now. All you gotta do is play $5 in your lineup. Make all the picks you want. No matter what happens in those picks, you're gonna win $50 if it's your first time signing up and playing. To make the NBA playoffs that much sweeter, make your picks at the right place, which is PrizePicks. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the MightyCast, and I am joined by the great RG3 Robert Griffin III. Man, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. I appreciate you and the wife making the drive down, and it's good to see you again. How's life?
Life is great. The drive was smooth.
Yeah.
And you came on our show, so we figured a little 2.5 hour drive from the Woodlands, not that big of a deal to be here for the GOAT. Appreciate you, brother.
I appreciate that. I want to jump right into it. You know, growing up, I never watched football because I was always in a house with a mom and no dad, right?
Yeah, you watching Lifetime movies.
Watch Lifetime movies. Oh, Jesus, man. Don't get me fucking started, man. Run, girl. Like, Mom, she can't fucking hear you. And you deaf anyway, so what you talking about?
The dads are terrible. They're hitting them. They're killing them. They're cheating. They're doing the whole thing.
So I never really grew up watching football until I think it was a little bit, in high school. I played football in middle school and high school. And then after, I feel like a little bit after high school, I really started getting watching football. Just didn't have a team I would pick, but I remember watching you, and the biggest thing that shook me about football was like when you got injured, right? That was the first, obviously you were doing all the amazing shit you were doing, but once you got injured, I was like, oh fuck, man, RG3 is injured. And they kept forcing you to play. This is me on the outside looking in, right?
I'm with you.
Like they're like, oh, he has a knee injury. Put his black ass back in. I'm like, the motherfucker's injured. And you played injured, right?
Yeah.
I'm jumping past a whole bunch of shit, but that was the first thing that came to mind. I was like, why'd they play that motherfucking injured?
Yep.
Like, talk to me about like you at that point in your career.
Yeah.
When you're forced to play injured, because I believe it was an ACL injury.
Yep, ACL.
ACL. Talk to me about that, because that's an injury that a lot of people don't come back from.
Yeah.
And it's hard even because the movement you're doing as a quarterback, you're going lateral, you're going forward, you're going backwards, while lifetime trying to keep motherfuckers off you.
Yeah. I would say, to incorporate both MMA and football here. When you're in the ring, you're in the octagon. It's a fight.
Yep.
And you're fighting for your life.
Yep.
Right. If you go in there not fighting for your life, that other guy could potentially kill you.
Yeah.
You might not just lose the fight. You could potentially lose out on opportunities if you're not in there protecting yourself. So as a football player, I always went into every game and every situation thinking to myself, I have to fight for my life every single time I'm out there on the field. What a lot of people forget is that I actually tore my ACL the first time when I was in college. 2009. Came back from that injury. We ended up winning the Heisman 2 years later in 2011. And people forgot about it because, something happens, you have more success, they forget. So in 2012, we're having a great rookie year. Team is doing really, really well, and I get hurt, tear my ACL. I didn't tear my ACL yet. I tore my LCL,
which is the
outside ligament. And I missed 1 week and then came back. And when I came back, they weren't really forcing me to run a lot, but the coach, Mike Shanahan, and his son, Kyle Shanahan, kept coming to me every single week and saying, hey, we need you to run, 4 or 5 times, just just to keep the defense honest.
Yeah.
Now, as you probably saw, when I was running,
You were gone.
it was I was running fast, but it didn't look pretty
Yeah.
when I was hurt.
Yeah.
And that's where everyone's like, why is he running? Why is he doing these things? For me, it was, I have to do this for my teammates, because MMA, tennis, golf, track, typically individual sports.
Yeah.
In football, you're doing it for 10 other guys.
Yeah.
So the game that you're probably referencing the most was the playoff game against the Seattle Seahawks in January 2013.
Yep.
And everyone in the world that was watching this game was saying what you're saying.
Yeah.
What the hell are they doing?
Yep.
This young man, kid, 22-year-old, is clearly hurt.
Yep.
They need to take him out of the game.
Yep.
And what I always tell people is, I was never going to take myself out of that game. That'd be like you being in the middle of a fight and Henry Cejudo hits you really hard and you're like, ow.
Yeah.
Somebody save me, please. You're not going to do that. You might get poked in the eye. You might get a low blow. You're going to be like, I gotta tough it out. I'm going to take the 15 seconds or a minute and a half that the ref gives me, but I'm going to get back into the fight. But it's your corner's job. It's your coach's job to make sure they protect you from yourself. And to this day, it's 2025 now, and we are 12 years removed from that moment. To this day, I still get questions about my knee.
Oh, of course.
Random fan, hey man, how's your knee doing? I'm like, guys, that was 12 years ago.
You're like, I think I did.
I'm good to go. We can run. I ran a 4.2 2 years ago. But I understand it because that's all they saw.
Yeah.
And my only thing is, moving forward, it's like, I would never want to put my own kid in that situation. If you're the coach, it's your job to protect the player. Understand the player is going to want to play. If you're wobbly after you get rocked, and you can't even find the stool between the rounds,
you're done.
Your coach has to be able to be like, okay, I know if he's like really hurting or if he's a danger to himself. And that's what Mike Shanahan and his son Kyle Shanahan and the organization didn't do for me at that time. They didn't protect me from myself. And at the end of the day, it altered my career forever.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's funny before you came here because my wife was literally talking about that game. She was, I remember, and when they played the Seattle Seahawks, and I was like, well, he didn't play for the Seattle Seahawks. She goes, no, I think it was when they're playing against them. And that was like obviously you did amazing things up to a point, but that was one thing. I'm like, this motherfucker's hurt. Get him out. Do you feel that they let you down? Like, where you're like, dude, like you guys robbed me of what could have been. If y'all would have like, hey, you know what?
Yeah.
Sit down. We'll get you next year, baby. Let's give second string a little chance to get beat up. Like,
I'm with you.
Do you feel like they robbed you of the years that you what could have been?
That's a great question, by the way. You kind of seamlessly moved through that. That was pretty good. DJ.
I'm trying to, I try to weave my.
That was pretty good.
Thanks,
the way you weave through that.
My wife, she kind of coaches me. She goes, babe, you disregard everything they say, and I'm like, well, babe.
No, it's great because it's a question that, as a man now 12 years removed from the situation,
because you're still fucking, we just played.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie, man, you were moving. I was like, I'm 38, I still work out every day. And I was like, I'm in the wrong fucking, these motherfuckers still, everybody's athletic, right?
I'm 35 now.
Yeah.
And it's like being 12 years removed, you could probably, I feel like you would respect this answer. Do I feel like I was robbed of a potential Hall of Fame career? Yes. But do I think they robbed me of that? I think if I don't take responsibility and understand what happened to me, how I responded to what happened to me, then I'd just be scapegoating it. I'll never be that guy that's in the bar drinking a couple beers like, man, they just didn't like me. It was their fault. It's like, no, I understand what happened to me. I don't think I'd be in the position that I am, be the man that I am, be the father, the husband that I am today if that stuff didn't happen to me. What I wish in hindsight is that they would have protected me. That's it.
Yeah.
They didn't rob me of it. I don't look at it as woe is me. I'm enjoying what I'm doing now. I enjoy my life. Nobody has a better life than I have. Right? That's the viewpoint I feel like you have to have. J. Cole says you can't really love another, you can't love anything unless you love yours.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Yep.
So you have to love your life So I love my life. I love my wife. I love my kids, my family, the structure. I love having conversations and getting to know you.
Yeah.
And, you know, hopefully you'll be back
Yep.
at the Celebrity Sweat game
You
next
already know.
year,
Yeah,
making
yeah.
it happen, having a good time. So I wouldn't sit here and say to you, they did this to me. It's like, nah, listen, I understand. I wish they would have protected me. They didn't.
Yeah.
Now what do I do? I have to make the best of the rest of my life. So if that's playing in a Celebrity Sweat flag football game and having fun giving back to the military and showing everybody at 35 I can still play, then you just do that and you have fun with it. I'll always know what could have been, but I'll never rest on that and say, what was me?
Yeah, that's fucking deep. Because there's a lot of people who get in your position like, y'all motherfuckers robbed me. Because now you look at the organization. Quarterback runs, slides, gets up, fucking 15. Oh my God. I'm like, we watching football or not?
Oh man.
And it's totally different spectrum now where it's like, when you were playing, it was like, we're going to need you to do this. We know you're hurt. We're going to keep forcing you to play. Look what happened. Now it's like if anybody, little boo-boo, could be not even the quarterback, could be the cornerback, could be the safety, wide receiver.
Across the middle.
Say, hey, come off. And do you think they're starting to do that now just because they want to protect the athletes more? Or do you think they got a lot of backlash from the previous athletes, you know? That's how I see it now. Because back in the day, you motherfuckers were getting hit. And it was like, woo, cause that's what's up. Walking, my kids play. He hit me. I was like, welcome to fucking football. I'm trying to get back that old shit. None of that new shit, right? Do you think now they're more on a mindset of trying to protect the assets and the players than it was in the past?
Yes, I do. And, you know, I've got a really great relationship with Troy Vincent, who's the, vice president over there at the NFL, right directly under Roger Goodell. And they really focus on how do we make the game safer? Hey, back in my day, as soon as you say that, Troy's like, what is that? That back in your day, what does that even mean? Like, so you want them to have CTE, like some of our greats, like the Junior Seau's, who ended up committing, taking their lives because of the head trauma. You want that for the next generation? And I understand that. I also understand that it can be difficult for a football fan.
Oh, yeah.
If you, like, I think Kevin Hart did a skit, it's a hilarious skit, how the NFL wants you to tackle the quarterback. Yeah. Right? Yeah. And it was like, they pick him up, they pat him on the back like a baby. They put some pillows down on the ground. They lay him down there, and you can't like drive a shoulder or anything into him. But I grew up in a NFL that wasn't as destructive as Lawrence Taylor and those guys. But when I played against the Cincinnati Bengals, they had a rule. Every time we did the zone read where the quarterback reads the defensive end, either takes it or gives it to the running back, every time we ran the zone read, they were going to hit me. And when I tell you, they hit me 35 times that game. Every time we did a handoff, whether it was a traditional handoff or a zone read handoff, the defensive end beeline for me and just kept smacking me, hitting me. I'm looking at the ref like, bruh, come on, man. Yeah. He's like, put your hands up after you hand the ball off, and then I'll call it. I hand it off, put my hands up. Boom, Michael Johnson, not the 400-meter runner, but the defensive end, Carlos Dunlap. They smacking me in the face, and I look at the ref, and he's like, I mean, technically it's legal. But now in today's NFL, you throw that ball across the middle, you know that the safety can't hit the wide receiver like they used to because they're going to get fined. And let me tell you, those fines, you're talking $30,000. Damn! $30,000 for a fine, and you continue to get fined. They continue to add up to more money. So it's not like $30,000, and then the next week it's $30,000 again. No, it's 30. Now it's 50. Damn. Now it's 80. Damn. And I think they're doing that to protect the players. I actually believe their thought process is about protecting the players. Yeah. But it's also to protect their money. Yeah. All right. These CTE lawsuits and the concussion lawsuits, and if they show that they're not looking out for the best interest of the players, former players are going to continue to sue them, and it'll look like they're not trying to take care of them. I think it was the movie that Will Smith had, Concussion, that led to a lot of the litigation against the NFL. So it's a double-edged sword. You already know this. Follow the money. Yep. And if it's affecting the money, we got to stop that. Okay, so quarterbacks are getting hurt because y'all are driving them into the ground. We got to stop that. I got hit so hard by DeMarcus Ware, Dallas Cowboy defensive end. I handed the ball off on a run play, did a little boot out, just carrying out my fake. And he's looking at me. And I'm like, damn, good thing I don't got the ball. So then we come out the next play, and this time we fake it, and I actually have the ball.
Kept the ball this time.
And I look over my shoulder, and I see DeMarcus Ware there. I'm like, oh shit! The man hit me with his left shoulder. I throw the ball, get a completion, first down.
Yep.
He picks me up, jumps, drives his shoulder into my stomach, into the ground. If he did that today, he'd be in prison. Okay, because they don't allow the quarterbacks. They don't allow you to hit the quarterback like that anymore.
Yeah.
Knock the wind out of me. Hardest hit I ever took in the NFL.
Wow.
So part of me also believes like, hey, if I was playing in today's game, I would have a longer career.
Oh, of course.
The quarterbacks would have longer careers because they can't hit you as hard.
Yeah.
They can't drive you into the ground. And I think that's because, you know,
what
they make the most money. If quarterbacks are making $50-60 million a year,
of course, you're gonna protect that.
You're going to protect that asset. So they're protecting the quarterback, and I understand it, but I can also feel for the defensive guys because they feel like they're out there playing patty cake.
Yeah, he's like, man, I can't do what I was. I
was
can't do
born to this.
Exactly.
I was born to hit. It's like it's telling Justin Gaethje you can't just slang and bang.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep. Damn, that's fucking crazy. 30 grand? It's just right off the top, or is it a percentage of what your pay is? Or it's like, no. Oh, damn.
And that's the problem because you get into the preseason, right? And there's a lot of young players who aren't making millions of dollars a year, and they're getting fined in the preseason, and it's their entire game check.
Damn.
So they might go into the preseason, have a great game, 15 tackles, like, man, I'm making the team.
Yep.
They got 2 fines in
like,
that preseason.
And you're also cut, motherfucker.
You just played for free. You just played for free, buddy. Have some fun. And it's like, man, so sometimes we'll actually pay. We will pay those fines for them.
Oh, that's what's up, man.
Just so that they can enjoy the experience and not play fearful. Yeah. Because it's a violent game.
Oh,
you don't go into the octagon saying, I am not gonna hit him in the face.
No, I'm going 110%. Like you sign a waiver, I sign a waiver, you don't get your show money. Don't worry. You'll get your little 50,000, 150,000. Yep. I'm going to try to eat all mine.
I'm trying to break your nose.
Yes,
okay?
exactly.
I'm trying to put a cave in the side of your forehead, okay? That you want the players to play that way. So we would pay fines for the younger guys. That way they could at least walk away with something and not leave the NFL owing the NFL money. Yeah. That's a bad situation.
That's fucking crazy. Yeah. That is crazy. All right. Well, I want to talk about your childhood. Yep. Right? Like, you're born in Japan.
Yes.
I mean, we talked about that. And being born in Japan, I believe one of your parents was in the military. That's why you were both of them were in the military. Now, being in Japan, how long were you in Japan for?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. And after that, where'd you go?
So, military kid. So I was born in Japan there for 2.5 years. Moved to Colorado. Not to Colorado, my bad. Moved to Olympia, Washington.
Olympia, Washington.
Yeah, so...
Okay, 253. That's
there
where
you go.
Okay.
So I moved to Olympia, Washington. So the first football game I ever went to was a Seattle Seahawks game. And
Really?
Joey Galloway ran a punt return back for a touchdown in that game.
Was that where you fell in love before? You was like...
It's when I was like, whoa, what is this?
Okay.
Oh, wow. That guy, you can catch that and do that. And Joey was a special player. So moved there. And then my parents actually left and went to Korea. So they moved me and my 2 sisters into New Orleans, Louisiana with my dad's side of the family in the Iberville projects. So we experienced that for a year, moved around a bunch, went to Alabama, South Carolina, just moving with different family members. And then we found our way to Coppers Cove, Texas. And that's where I was able to go 1st grade through 12th grade. That's a blessing for a military kid.
Oh, yeah.
And really enjoyed that. So people are like, hey, where are you from? I'm like, well, I'm Blackanese.
Yep, Blackanese, yep.
I'm Blackanese. I was born in Japan.
I got my Japan passport. Here you go, right here, motherfucker.
I did Taekwondo growing up, so a little bit of that Japaneseness, rubbed off on me. And I had the bandana, Bruce Lee-ing it up and everything. But I haven't been back to Japan yet. Yeah. And I want to go back.
They will love you there.
It's not even just like, hey, branding, marketing, whatever. Oh, no, it's the people. Yeah. I want to get back over there. I feel like it's in me, and I haven't been back since I was 2.5 years old. So I think that'd be a fun process.
Yeah, they'll love you over there. You would stick out like a sore thumb, like, look at this black 6'4" man. They'll be like, you do something, right? You do something. So... So from 1st grade to 12th grade was Texas. Okay. Yep. And the first time you saw football was when you were in Olympia, Washington. Yep. Now, what got you into football? Because I feel that there's a million people who play football, right? But it takes a certain person to realize that they're good at this.
Yep.
Right. So what was the first time you started playing football? Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So I actually didn't play football until 7th grade.
Really?
So you hear all these stories. Oh man, I was a 5-year-old prodigy out there in Pee Wee, and I didn't do that. Partially because we couldn't afford it. You know, I just told you we were in the Iberville projects with my dad's side of the family, and like, you know, military families. I think there's a common misconception that you go in the military to get rich. That's not what happens. Or you go in the military and you're not poor. That's also not what happens. So my dad hates me when I say it, but we were a poor family. And we could only afford Little League baseball and Little League basketball. So I didn't play Little League football. And so my first football experiences came on the playground. I played wide out. I was fast. I'm like, I want to run fast like Joey Galloway. Okay. I want to run fast like Andre Rison and Deion Sanders. And then I quickly realized that at 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, there's really not any Peyton Mannings out there. They can't throw the ball like that.
You're going to laugh at this. Keep going.
Okay. So I ended up switching at recess in 4th, 5th, 6th grade to playing quarterback because I played baseball. I was a pitcher. I was a shortstop. I played center field. I could throw it. I'm like, I ain't going to be out there running.
I'm done
running miles and not catching the ball because they can't throw it. So I'm going to just throw it. So then I go to 7th grade, and now football is a part of the school curriculum. And it's free. So I go, I try out for the team. They tell me, you want to play running back? Because they know I'm fast. I'm like, no, I want to play quarterback. They're like, oh, you want to play wide receiver? I'm like, no. I want to play quarterback, coach. And they're like, okay, well, you're going to be on the B team if you play quarterback because we have this other kid that we know him. And I'm like, all right, cool. I was on the B team for one day, homie. One day.
Like, bring your ass over here.
I threw a 70-yard touchdown. They said, oh, he can play quarterback. Put me on the A team, starting quarterback. And it was this moment that I knew football might be something that I can be good at.
This was at 7th grade?
This is 7th grade. Wow. First game, we won 60-6. I threw 3 touchdowns, ran for 3 touchdowns. I looked at my mom and I said, I told you they wouldn't be able to catch me because the whole thing was I don't want you to go out there and get hurt and football is dangerous. And I said, Mom, they won't be able to catch me. She said, okay, sure. I got tackled one time in the game. We won 60-6. I was like, you know what? Maybe this is something that I should really pour myself into. Still wasn't convinced at that point. I was still doing basketball, running track, but that was my first football experience.
Wow. I got goosebumps because I feel now the stigma of sports today. If you want your child to be great, you start them early. I got Junior running, catching 100 balls. I got him doing the ladder drill. And don't get me wrong, I'm out there. I'm that dad. Like, you got to do, you got
to do something.
You got to do something, right? Yeah. But it's because people always ask me, how did you know you're going to be great at a sport? I was like, I didn't, right? Like, me come from a military background. We traveled all over the place. Panama, fucking Lakewood, then finally we set place in, Parkland, and from 2nd all the way to, high school, I stayed there. And then I didn't start my martial arts journey until 8th grade in wrestling. We talked about your podcast. And for me, I'm like, when does an athlete know that they're going to be good in this sport? Were you tall at 7th grade? Were you tall? You was not tall, but you were fast.
So I can take you through that journey of it.
When did you hit your growth spurt? I'm still waiting on mine.
I hit my.
I don't know, I'm gonna lie to you. I felt bad in the celebrity game when I was covering Ross. I was like, Ross, and you were so tired. You were doing so much work.
I was.
We appreciate you.
Listen, I was trying to win. I'm like, and he was like, hey, Rob. I'm like, get over here. I got him. I'm not even a DB. I don't even play DB. We're going to make it happen.
I felt so bad. The look in your face, you're like,
I was so tired.
I know, man.
I was so tired.
I was like, fucks. So you weren't tall in 7th grade.
I was not tall. So, to kind of piggyback off of what you were saying before, because, we did the podcast with you on Out of Pocket. And we have these conversations about family and being an athlete. And one thing that Deion Sanders had told us was, a lot of parents, when they raise their kids, they act like they're raising themselves. And that's not what you're doing, right? You see it all the time. There's the crazy dad. He's in the stands screaming at his son. Now it's not fun for the son. Now the son's going to probably do everything he possibly can to not play that sport because dad is just nuts. Or they play it and they don't love it. So we talk about that on our show about making it an environment where it's a growth environment.
Yep.
Okay. So we teach our kids all the things.
Yep.
They know how to play basketball. They know how to play tennis. They know how to play golf. They know how to swing a bat. They know how to run track. They know how to play flag football. And then whatever they gravitate towards, that's what we help them with.
Yep.
So for me, I always encourage everyone to play as many sports as they can.
Yep.
I ran track, I played basketball, and I played football. Played soccer routinely, played baseball. Baseball was the first sport I ever played. And it's funny because I didn't specialize. I did not specialize in football. And even when I went to college, I didn't specialize.
Really?
A lot of people don't remember this because it's so long ago, right?
Yeah.
But I actually ran track in college before I ever played football.
Wow.
I graduated early, but when it wasn't popular to do it.
Yep.
And I went to Baylor in the spring. So in January 13th is when I started college.
Yep.
And I ran track that spring and didn't play football until that fall.
Wow.
So I was a dual sport athlete even in college.
Which is unheard of.
It's very rare. You see guys do football, baseball sometimes.
But even
very rare.
In today's society,
Yes.
If they look back at the books, if I show my kids, oh, look, RG3, each time on the podcast, he goes, oh, he played football when he was 2. And I'm like, no. He did multiple sports. He was very athletic. He played baseball, basketball, everything. And even when he went to college, did you get a full ride scholarship for football in college?
I was a full ride football, and then I got a little extra cheese for track because they give you the stipend money. Okay.
Yeah.
Now I missed that stipend money the rest of college because I wasn't running track after that. But I had a full ride scholarship. Yep. And then you go on a trip, you go to a track meet. Yep. I got $400 in my pocket. I'm like, oh, we balling, baby.
What y'all want? What you want? You want some? I get you. Hey, I got hurt too, man. But
now these guys got like millions of dollars. But like I was like, man, $400 extra. This is gonna be great. I can eat Subway sandwiches.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But to answer the other question you had about my growth spurt.
Yeah.
So we talked about this.
Yep.
8th grade, I was 91 pounds.
Yep.
But I was 5'5".
Okay. And
I was dunking.
Damn.
Yeah, I had bunnies.
See.
And dude, I had the bunnies then, and I got the bunny now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In case you didn't know, yes, my wife is European. She's white.
Yeah.
So that's the bunny I'm referring to. But I was 5'5", 91 pounds.
Yeah.
And I hit my growth spurt my sophomore year of high school. So I went from 5'5" to about 5'11".
Damn.
And as you know, like I don't know if you know. I don't know when your growth spurt happened or whatever, but when you have those big growth spurts, that's when like your bones start to hurt a little bit, and it's like what they call growing pains.
Yeah.
So I got to 5'11" when I was a sophomore, and then I started just incrementally growing from that point. So when I went to college, I was not as tall as I am now. I was right around 6'1.5".
Damn.
And then through college, I continued to grow, got to 6'2.5". And it was funny for me because the perfect height at that time for a quarterback was 6'2".
Wow, because you see over the D line.
And I was a 6'2". So to backtrack, I was a 5'11", 5'9" actually, my freshman year of high school, starting point guard on varsity. I was a 5'9", 110 hurdler, 4x4, long jump, high jumper on the varsity team as a freshman in high school. And I played freshman football. And then the next year, I was varsity basketball, varsity track. I was varsity football, but I was the backup. And I played 5 snaps maybe.
That's it?
The whole year.
As a sophomore?
Wow. Came back as a junior, starting on varsity for football, starting on basketball, starting for track. And we went to our first state championship in school history.
Wow.
We lost it.
Yeah, but you got there.
Got there. Came back the following year, varsity again, went to another state championship, lost it again. So it was tough for me, but we did win a state championship in high school. We won in track and field, not individually, but as a team.
As a team, yeah. Which is still a lot of people have to understand. It's like, okay, you're running the hurdles. Okay, I need you to get first place. You get a certain amount of points depending on if you're first, second, third, or fourth.
Yeah.
I think fifth, they don't get nothing.
I don't know if the points are very, like it's 10 for first, 8, 6, 4, like it's very minimal.
I don't forget when I was in track, because I run the 3,200 and 1,600, right? Yep. And then he'll be like, hey, Demetrious, you got to get up and run. It was an old white man. And I would be fucking running, only black guy ahead. And next thing he goes, hey, we're going to need you to run the 4x4. I was like,
oh my God, everybody.
Like, 4x4. I was like, man, the fucking 400 meter, that's so. He goes, guess what? You're going to come in second because they ain't got nobody else. We need the points. I'm like, fuck, fine, I'll run it, right?
It's all about the points.
All about the points. So you, in my eyes, you were a genetic specimen, Mike. You're playing football. You're excelling in all the sports.
Yep.
You weren't just doing one thing. Now, when you're at that age, even in college or your whole entire time doing that, did you know you were more athletic than everybody around you?
I knew I was faster. Because even when I first started playing baseball, I hit a lot of in-the-park home runs before I got power.
Gotcha.
So I played baseball for 3 years, 6, 7, 8.
Yep.
By the time I was 8, now I had power. And it's kind of weird to say that.
Yeah, but no, I understand.
You grow inside the sport.
You grow into your body, and you was like, okay, this is how I leverage that, and
you make it happen. So at 6, I was slapper to second base, dodging guys, inside the park home run. 7 years old, hitting it a little bit deeper. 8, I was actually able to start hitting them 150 feet and that type of stuff. So I knew I was faster, and I knew my work ethic was stronger. So a funny story, in my opinion, it's not really that funny because, all of our stories are funny. But I get to Copper's Cove and I want to be the fastest kid in school. That's my goal. I want to be the fastest. I challenge every boy in the school to a race, first day of first grade. I got beat. I got 4th or 5th. I'm demoralized. Damn. Every day from 1st to 4th grade, I raced every kid every day.
Wow.
It wasn't until I got to 4th grade that I became the fastest in the school.
Damn,
from first to 4th.
All those years demoralizing,
damn. But I moved up though. I went from 4th to 3rd, 3rd to 2nd, and then 3rd and 4th. The 3rd and 4th grade, I was really this guy. His name was Robert Bradford. He's probably shout out, homie. He was still faster than me. Got to 4th grade, first day of 4th grade, beat him. Never got beat again. So I knew I was fast. And then it was like, okay, well, the speed helped me in football when I started playing football. The speed helped me in basketball because even if I wasn't the most skilled early on, I could run past everybody with the dribbles and shoot layups and do all that. So speed actually helped me develop everything that I have. It's like, Ryan Garcia, the boxer. He's just faster than everyone else.
So he, that blazing left hook, and he can get away with a lot of stuff because he has that speed.
And everyone's like, oh, but he leaves himself open when he throws the left hook. I'm like, yeah, but you try to see it.
Yeah.
When he throws that jab. I mean, what's our guy's name that got knocked out by him?
Devontae Davis.
Not Davis.
Devin Haney.
Devin Haney was like, I could see the opening, but he was on the canvas. Right? By the time he could be like, I thought I threw it. No. You on the ground, homie. You out.
I thought I threw it. No, he threw that what I was looking for.
So that was my advantage. I was fast. And then I was able to build
off that.
To where you see me now, I'm 210 pounds, but I was able to build my strength and build my leg strength and build my upper body strength. But I was 91 pounds in 8th grade. So speed was my differentiating thing
from everybody else around.
And then I developed the skill.
Gotcha. Damn. Because I have 2 boys and they do sports, and I try to see what separates them from the other kids and what separates their kids from my kids.
Right.
And I think Tyron, he has a work ethic. He has a weird strength about him, and he's tall. He's almost as tall as me. My wife says, babe, that's not a hard thing to do. And I'm like, damn, you always cut me down. She doesn't always cut me down, but I love how she does a little jabs. I was like, damn, babe, he's almost tall as me. I'm doing laundry. I'm like, I put his fucking pants on mine. I'm like, are these Tyrants? She goes, babe, that's not a good reference because Maverick and Tyron are almost as big as you. I'm like, she goes, he's large. He's, I was like, I gotta look at the fucking tags. I gotta start looking. So
short king season, man.
Yeah, that's right, babe. It is.
You know what I'm saying? It's always short king season.
So I always look at my kids. I'm like, okay, he has a work ethic. Maverick he's so technical. He can break things down very small. And for him, it's like, I just want to have a good time. I just want to have fun. And so I always wanted to ask somebody, what did they know was different for them, and for you was speed. Now, let's talk about you getting drafted to the NFL.
Yep.
Right? That's a big moment in everybody's life as a football player, I feel like. Yep. Right? You get drafted. It's draft day. You got I'm sure you had a hat. You probably had 5 of them behind you.
You got it all picked out.
Like, here we go. Talk to me about that.
It's the experience of all the hard work you've put into something coming to fruition. So for you, you get inducted into the One Championship Hall of Fame, right? Yep. That's a accumulation of all the accolades that you were able to accomplish, taking the risk of leaving the UFC and going to another promotion and being great in that promotion, right? For me, it was like those growing pains from when I went from 5'5" to 5'11". Yeah. And I didn't know if I was gonna
do anything.
If I was gonna be able to do it, or like, are my ankles or is my back or whatever, am I gonna be okay? Or the ACL I tore in 2009. Going to Baylor University when everyone's telling me, no, you should go somewhere bigger because I was a big recruit. Yeah. And like taking that risk, the sacrifices that my mom and dad made for me and my sisters, the sacrifices that my family made, the coaches that helped me get there, the teammates that I had in high school, because I always tell people, high school football, there's nothing like it. Yeah. Really, the friends you had in high school, there's nothing like it. Yeah. You grew from being an adolescent child to being a bigger adolescent child. Yeah. Right? Yeah. To be a bigger child with them, but that bond that you have with those individuals is crazy. So when you're sitting there and you get drafted, it's like, yes, you're embarking upon a new journey. Yeah. And no, it's not over. Yeah. But yes, you did make it. And there's only so few people who get drafted. Yeah. There's only so few people who get drafted second overall in the NFL draft. And in that moment, I just tried to embrace and reflect on that, knowing that it wasn't about me. It was about everybody that helped me get to that point. And I feel like that's why you see guys cry. Yeah. You see guys, big smile, you hugging a guy that you don't even know. Roger Goodell, commissioner, comes out there and he's like, welcome to the NFL. And you hugging this man like you've known this man for 15 years. Yeah. Because you've played that moment over and over and over in your head. So you got that fly suit, you got the bling bling, like bling bling, you know what I'm saying? And you're enjoying it in the moment, because as soon as you get off that stage and you finish those interviews, it's back to work. Yeah.
I feel like as we're sitting here talking, I feel like you're very selfless. Like I'm meaning that like you acknowledge everybody who's helped you get to this point in your life, right? Like talk about the coaches, you talk about your parents making the sacrifice. Where does that come from? Right. I sit here and I'm like, man, this man's always referring to people who you refer to people who got you where you are now, right? Like, where does that come from? Like, that's something that's not where you taught that, but I feel like you genuinely care about everybody who's got you to the point where you are now and made you the man you are right now.
No, I do. And I appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, I feel it. I'm like, this
that's unprompted. So I didn't pay him to say that.
No, I'm sitting there I'm sitting there. I'm like, man, this motherfucker is kind. He thinks about the people that got him where he is, and even the experience of you traveling all over the world. It just and I'm like, where does that come from?
I think it's three things, and I don't want to preach.
No.
Right? It's three things. It's one. That's a military mindset. Okay, like in the military, what they teach you from what my parents taught me and my sisters is discipline, hard work. Yep. If you say you're gonna do something, you do it, and if you start something, you finish it. And you rarely hear people in the military take credit for something. Yeah. Right, because they understand every rank and file is what helps us succeed in wartime. So I think that was it. It's the military mindset. The second thing is my parents and my belief in God. Knowing that everything that happens to you happens for a reason. Find the silver lining in it. What's the message? What's the lesson? It helps you not feel like a victim. And I think having that belief in a higher power, I don't try to put down anyone else. I'm a Christian, but I don't put down Muslims. I don't put down any other religions, because at the end of the day, we might all be worshiping the same God. Yep. I don't know. Yeah. But what I do know is that if it's valuable to you, I'm going to try to make sure that I listen and I learn. Yeah. And I think the third thing is the things I've been through in my life from a young age, living in the projects, experiencing that, being in predominantly white neighborhoods, being in predominantly black neighborhoods, then being in the mixed neighborhood of Copper Cove, Texas, which is just one of the craziest melting pots you'll find in that Texas environment. And then what I went through in my career. So I was at a speaking engagement recently for the Trial Lawyers of America in Miami. And the woman comes up to me, black lady. She's like, man, I'm a huge Washington Redskins Commanders fan.
Yeah.
I saw your journey. And when you got drafted, they did a big spread on the Washington Post. And it talked about you, your family, your mindset, everything that you just said. This kid's so selfless. This young man thinks about other people. And she said, how did what happened to you in Washington change you? How did it break you? Right? Because what I was like, ooh, I'm not gonna lie to you, Mighty Mouse. I came up with this like on the spot. She said, break you. I said, break you. I said, ooh. I said, let me tell you this story about how Washington did not break me.
Yeah.
They made me unbreakable. Because now I come in, they're telling all these great things. You talk to my teammates from college, they say the same things that they were saying. You talk to my teammates from same things. It's like, this is just who I am.
Yeah.
But then I get to DC and we have a great first year. Second year, we don't have a great year.
Yeah.
Now they're trying to flip the script. Oh, this guy don't work hard. He don't study. He's not a great teammate. And I'm listening, I'm seeing all these things happen.
Yeah.
And my teammates are seeing them too. And they're like, Griff, why are they talking about you like that? That's not who you are.
Yeah.
You work hard. You're the first person in the building. You're the last person out. Yeah. You're caring. You care about guys. You're getting them Christmas gifts. You're asking them about their kids.
Yeah.
You're doing all these things. Why are they talking to you about you like this? And I'm like, I don't know. But it got so bad that they were trying to tear down my character. You come to a point where you're like, is this who I am? Right?
Yeah.
I've never identified myself as these things, but they won't stop saying them. So is this true?
Yeah.
I have to look inward and say, what am I doing that is making them think this? And you eventually come to the conclusion that you have to be who you are all the time. And what happened in Washington when they were saying all those negative things, I had a decision. It was like, you do three things. One, you accept it and you say, that's who I am. Yep. Two, you fight against it and you lose because you can't fight those battles. You have to let someone else fight them for you. Or three, you continue being who you are and you continue to show them who you are and that they're not going to be able to take that pen from you and write that story. So Washington made me unbreakable because they tried to break me. Yeah. And it's my faith, my family, the military background, and just knowing who I am and what I represent that has allowed me to continue to shine through as the person that you describe me as. And I care. I do care. Yeah. I had a coach tell me one time I care too much. Yeah. And I don't ever want to stop caring. Yeah. I want to know your story. I want to know your background. I want to know about your family. Yeah. And then when you're not on the pod and I'm not on your pod, I'm not on another pod talking about, hey, yo, let me tell you about DJ. This guy's terrible.
Or you're somewhere, someone says, man, Robert Griffin III, he's a little bitch. Like, nah, motherfucker's like, I only met him twice. I'll fight you right fucking now because every interaction I had with him, that man, he cares. He's selfless. He is a wonderful human being. Yep. And as I was sitting here listening, I'm like, man, this guy is kind. And I wanted to like, and when she said, break you, I was like,
she said, break. I said, break
me. I was like, please tell me where you felt I was. They broke
my
me.
Body might have been broken.
Exactly. But my spirit
and who I know that I am, heart of hearts, that doesn't happen. And if in today's age, everybody's clapping back, right? You talk about the clapbacks. Oh, yeah. Somebody says something that you know is false. You clap back at them. You fix the narrative. Yep. But back in 2012, 2013, 14, that wasn't the case. Yeah. It was more like, hey, ignore it. Yeah. Don't let it take over the media waves. And even to this day, there's some people that were in that time that still repeat false stories about me. And I have a decision to make in those moments. Do I continue to just live and have the interpersonal relationships when I meet someone in person and they're like, damn, you're this, you're that. I don't know why they were saying that. You didn't even know those stories. No. And I don't try to share them all the time. It's more of, if you know who you are, the people who know who you are will continue to fight those battles for you.
Yep.
And I don't know you as well as I know my wife or my friends from high school, but the experiences that I have with you, along with the things that I have heard about you, show me that you are a humble superstar. You are a humble GOAT. And those are the kind of people I want to be around.
Yeah. Well, it's just you don't come across people, for the amount of success you've had, right? You're married, great career, made great money. You don't run into people who have that same humility, right? You're very humble. So for me to come across another black man to have married to a white woman who had that same type of, humility, it's very rare for me. And so that's why I was like, damn, like where does that come from? Now you're married. Where did you meet your wife, right? Where'd you meet her?
Yeah, so
because she's an athlete
she's
as well.
an athlete, track and field. I always joke, on our podcast.
Who's faster? Obviously I know you are, but who's a better? Stop it!
He's like, you're so humble. Who's faster?
You're gonna be driving home like this. She goes, "You're fucking faster.
Who's faster? Huh? Why don't you answer that question? I would say relative to the genders. Yeah, she's faster. For I raced her. Not raced. I did a workout with her. 150s. Yeah, a repeat 150s at Florida State. Her coach let me run on the track with them for one practice and then never let me run again. Yeah. He thought I was a distraction. Yeah. I was, because I got her pregnant twice while she was competing. So we're running and I don't take off as fast because I'm thinking to myself, man, I'm fast. I'm good. Yeah. And she's like beating me. And we're like 75 meters in and I'm like behind like a body length. And I'm like, wow, I actually have to run hard to even run with her. That's how fast she is. Because I don't think people realize the difference between 4.3 and 4.5.
There's a huge difference.
It's a huge difference in the time, but if you look at the bodies, it's not that far. So you think to yourself, I don't have to run that hard, but you do. She's a great athlete. We met through track and field. The honest answer, because we're always gonna be honest, is I shot my shot in the DMs, homie.
Yeah, did you?
Hey, Chef Curry with the shot, boy. And she accepted that. And it was during a time in my life where I was going through a lot, and I was, recently separated, and I was like, I don't know. It was that moment where you think to yourself, am I gonna be a good guy or a bad guy? Yeah. Relationally. Yeah. You go through some bad experiences, and I firmly believe that every bad guy who's out there abusing women and abusing them, not in the sense of beating them up, but like
verbally
mentally, or whatever. Mentally, physically, as in having sex with a bunch of women. Yeah. I believe most of those guys were good guys at one point who got their heart broken. Yep. And when you go through that, you have that decision. Yeah. And I feel like she saved me from being a terrible that guy. And I'll always, be thankful to her for that. First time we met, she drove 5 hours to St. Pete, Florida, to come see me because I was an idiot. And I thought that St. Pete, Florida was right next to Tallahassee, Florida. Okay. I didn't realize that Tallahassee was way up there by Alabama and that St. Pete was down there by Tampa Bay. And, it was love at first sight. I honestly thought that she was, I thought she was catfishing me. 100%. I go to St. Pete. Quick story. Go to St. Pete. We're supposed to be together for 3 days. Yeah. She ends up going to a track meet because she was sick the week before. And just imagine you've never met this person.
Yeah. You're texting. You're
I think she's
going to be there.
I go and I'm there and I'm like, all right, when you get here, she's like, actually, I had to go to a track meet. And I'm like, this person's fake. I'm going to enjoy St. Pete, do what I do. And then 2 days later, my last day, she's like, all right, I'm on my way now. Yeah. So when she pulls up, I'm thinking it's going to be Alberto getting out of the car, got a beard.
RG3,
hey, I'm just a big fan. I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to. And she got out the car, looked exactly the way that she looked in her pictures. And I'm like, we have already connected and been talking for like a month. So we got to know each other. We love the show Love is Blind on Netflix.
God, yeah.
So we had our true Love is Blind moment.
Yeah.
Knowing what each other looked like, but
actually seeing that physical attraction, be able to see her hair, smell her, is like, wow, hey.
It was, and like we had already like, hey, I like track. You like track. I tore my right ACL. She tore her left ACL.
Really?
We tore them in the same month.
Wow.
Same year.
Wow.
So it's like we had all these connective points that if we could go a month without seeing each other, but communicate, get to know each other, when we saw each other,
it was
sparks were flying. So, and now the rest is history. We have 4 daughters total, 3 daughters together. You know, been together for 9 years, been married for 6, going on 7. And it's like, it's the best decision I ever made was trusting her with my heart.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, what age, what point in your life was that when you met her? Because you've already been successful. You the star, right? And you slide in her DMs like, you know what, should I? You know, I'm gonna trust what I'm about to do is gonna work. So where were you at in your, like, were you already in NFL at that time? Or?
I was in the NFL, and here's the thing. We actually laugh about this sometimes because if I had hit her, say if I was single when I first got in the league, when it was 2012 and I was rookie of the year, I was a face of the NFL. I had the #1 selling jersey in the NFL. I was outselling Messi. Messi. Okay. If I had hit her up then you think to yourself, is she here for the right reasons? Is it just the stardom? Is it, nah, man, when I hit her and I pressed send in them DMs, I was in the worst position I had ever been in my career. This was 2016. I didn't play that entire season. I was going into free agency. So she went through free agency with me in the first time that we were together. Yeah. And a lot of people are like, oh, she's only there for the money. You're like, oh, she looks way too good to be with you. And I'm like, thank you.
Damn, I'm fucking ugly.
I'm so glad that she looks way too good to be with me because that's what you want. Yeah. And, you know, when I tell you, like, she's helped me level up from fashion to taking care of myself to getting my hair done routinely, like all these different things. Like, I look better now. I'm happy. Thank you, baby.
That's a good thing.
Appreciate
That's a good thing. Remember when I said it? I was like, you motherfuckers are all stressed out, aren't you? Right? I feel you're like, you're stressed to get my hair done.
I'm like, you know what? She helped me in all those areas, but she was there, and we talk about this. She's been there for all the down and outs. She was never there for the heights.
Now that you're,
but now that I was in 16, I didn't play. 17, I was out of the league. Yeah. Or I played in 16 and then got cut. 17, I was out of the league. 18, I get back. I'm the 4th quarterback for the Baltimore Ravens. Had to earn my way onto the roster. Didn't play a ton there. Then I'm out of the league, and it's like, okay, well, if she was here with me through all of this, she gonna be there forever regardless, because she wasn't just there for the wrong reason. She wasn't just there for the money. She wasn't just there for the fame. She got to experience me being that guy when I went to ESPN, because I'm back in the public spotlight. I'm on the college tour doing the games, and the fans are they back on you. So she got to experience that. It didn't change her character. It didn't change how she treated me. It didn't change how she looked at herself or me. So that to me was like the really defining moment. You know what I'm saying?
That's when you knew you had the right one.
No doubt.
Because that's where I think a lot of athletes now, especially when they made all that money and they're still on top and they're like, God damn, who am I gonna pick one? And you see in the MMA community, you see one get with one of them,
and then they get with some other one,
and then gets another one, and then everyone's like, man, I can't find. Like there was one, I'm not gonna say the athlete's name, but he was dating this chick, and she was like. He goes, you know what, you too bad for me. She goes, I want half your motherfucking pay. I was in the beginning. And he goes, bitch, you were with me shooting in the gym. You ain't getting none of this money. And he was like, man, I'm at this point now where I'm at my most popular. And I want to settle down. I'm 30, I'm 34, I'm 35. What am I going to do? Right? Because they know when they get me, they come. They come. They know what I'm coming with. And that's awesome that you guys kind of grew together. And it's very interesting. You guys both tore your ACL. So she understands being an athlete, coming back from that injury,
100%.
Like what you're doubting yourself. Am I going to be just as fast, right? So I think that also probably helped you guys, fall in love and understand where each other are coming from.
Yeah, it's a synergy of like raising kids too.
Yeah.
The synergy of raising kids when you were an athlete. Like we talked about before, you don't want to be that dad or that mom that is like, you have to do what I did.
Yeah.
You have to do this. It's like, no, I want my kids to be kids.
Yeah.
We're going to train them or teach them certain things so that when they go to school, they are dominant and they know how to do it and they have the confidence to get it done. But when you're with someone who's not athletically based or at least was there with you through the grind and understands it, it becomes more difficult. Like if I don't work out, I feel bad.
Yeah.
Like I feel fat.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why am I so useless? Like I wanna be active.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I'm gonna go run 1,000 marathons or do a triathlon. I would love to do those things as a bucket list item. But like just being active and doing something, she understands that.
Yeah. Because she comes from that background.
She comes from that background.
Do you ever feel like your kids are still, how old is your oldest that?
9, 7, 5, and 2.
Okay. So sometimes like with my wife, she's an athlete, even though she never played professional sports. I'm like, you're a fucking athlete. Like you can overhead squat more than I fucking can, all right? Like when we're doing CrossFit together, I'm like, all right, here we go. I'm like, oh shit. She goes, aren't you supposed to be strong? I was like, I am strong, girl. Don't you worry about me. So we live a lifestyle that it's you wake up, the first thing you do is you take care of yourself, right? She wakes up at 4 a.m. and she takes care of herself. Then when she comes home from the gym, I go to the gym.
Okay.
And sometimes I feel we set the bar so high for our children where I'm like, man, I wonder if our kids would be better off if we were pieces of shit. And then my buddy's like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, wife comes home, she's like, I got to feel myself. She gets her green. She's having oatmeal. Here I am. I have on a compression. Fucking chest is all out and abs are ripped. My kids are sitting there eating their pancakes. I'm like, here we go. And I sit there and I look and I'm like, fuck, man, are we setting the bar too high? Do you ever get that? Because when we were playing the Celebrity Sweat game, I saw you and your wife warming up together, right?
Yep.
And so you guys live that lifestyle, like health, fitness. Do you ever think that it might be too much for your children to look like, fuck, man, mom and dad, they're fucking, I don't know if I can live up to that. Do you ever have that moment in your life where like, honey, why don't you get fat, get 15, and I'm gonna let my fucking hair go. Let's just be pieces of shit. Like, do you ever have that feeling?
I don't think we do because I don't think we put the pressure on them to be as great or as we were.
Not the pressure.
But you're talking about just like
your aura.
Yeah.
Just you walking in, it's like, Dad, you want fruit punch? You go, nah, this has got 150 milligrams of vitamins and everything else, creatine. I don't want that shit. Like, do you ever feel like, I don't feel like we put the pressure on our kids.
Yeah.
But our kids are getting to that point now where they're starting, they watch everything we do.
Yeah. And they're gonna Google you at some point and be like, well, Dad was the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
I don't think that we put the pressure on them in that regard. Like our kids love to drink water.
Yeah.
Okay. Why? Because we drink water.
Yeah.
We drink a lot of water.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean we don't drink soda.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean we don't eat Lay's potato chips or Doritos.
Yeah.
They're delicious.
Yeah.
Right? You should get some sponsorships with them, right? But they repeat what we do.
Yeah.
So you saw us warming up for the flag football game.
Yep.
Why'd we do that? Because I'm 35 and my wife is, this is her, 12th year being 21. You know what I'm saying? They don't age. But we're older.
Yeah.
So if I just go out somewhere now and it's like I'm a sprint, there's a much more likely chance that something might hurt.
Yeah.
But if I warm up and I stretch and I do all those things, it's still going to hurt, but it's going to hurt less.
Yes.
So we kind of teach them that way, like, hey, before we work out, we're going to warm up.
Yep.
Before we do this, we're going to do that.
Yep.
We're going to do our homework and we're going to do our math facts before we go play with our toys.
Yep.
And I think that makes it to where it's a lot easier and they're used to that routine. It's not, Dad, why are you all of a sudden warming up and doing all these things? Are you nervous? Yeah. It's like, no. This is what we normally do. You don't have to be an athlete, but whatever you do, you will be great at it.
Yep.
So I think that's how we kind of approach, that aspect of it from a parenting standpoint.
Gotcha. I always wonder, like, man, these motherfuckers are athletic. They're athletic. They're still working out. I wonder how they feel about their kids and how they look, how they view them. And that's one thing I always talk to my wife about. I was like, man, maybe we should be pieces of shit today. And
that's the thing you said that makes me. Because now being a part of the media, like we're part of the media now. This is new media, and I was a part of new media and legacy media.
But you're doing your own thing now.
Correct.
You get to steer the ship however you want to steer it.
Correct. what story is better to tell? Is the story better to tell of Demetrious Johnson, whose kid gets into MMA and becomes, half as good as his dad or greater than his dad? Those are the LeBron type stories, right? And you have LeBron versus Jordan, and Jordan's kid out there doing whatever, whereas Bronny's playing on the Lakers.
Yeah.
Or is it a better story to tell of the young black man who didn't have the father and didn't have the family structure and was poor and didn't have the support that a celebrity would have for their child?
Yeah.
The media loves those stories more.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's not to say that they don't love Bronny's story. They do.
Yeah. But they're like, of course he was going to do that. Because
of course Arch Manning is great because his dad, who is not Peyton or Eli, it's actually Cooper, who's his dad, but people don't even know that. They think Arch is Peyton's son.
Yeah.
Of course he's going to get great quarterback coaching, and he's going to be a great quarterback because he's a Manning. Yeah. But if you can go tell the story of Lamar Jackson, who was raised by his mom, and his dad died at a young age, and has all the brothers and sisters, and is from Pompano Beach, Florida, and gives back to his community. That story, they want to tell that story more. Yeah. And that's where I feel like at times it's not about us being pieces of shit or whatever it is. It's more about what story does the media want to tell.
Okay. Now, this is a question I always wanted to ask professional athletes, because you're retired now. Yep. What did you do with your very first check when you got into the league, where it's like, RG3, whatever the number is, here you go. What was the first thing you did with that check?
First thing I did with my check was I paid off my parents' house. Wow. So the house that we grew up in, Coppers Cove, Texas, I knew my parents were in debt. And I took that first check and I went directly to the bank and the mortgage company and paid that off, because to me it was like, they're coming with me anyway. Oh yeah. I moved them to the DC area, but I wanted that house, whether they wanted to keep it or not. I just didn't want them to have that debt hanging over their head anymore. Yep. Because without them, I wouldn't be where I was in the first place. Yeah. I didn't buy a car. I didn't buy.
You buy a chain? You didn't get no grill?
I didn't buy a chain. I didn't buy a grill, because I wasn't raised in a way to have idols. Not that you don't have someone who's a role model, but to be like, man, I can't wait to make it so I can get that $100,000 chain. Like, that wasn't what I was raised to do. So I never spent my money frivolously, and I've heard this story from Marshawn Lynch before. I never touched any of my contract money. Yeah, I just heard that story. I put all my contract money away, and I lived off of my marketing money, and never made any of those big purchases. I didn't even buy my first car until 2016.
Are you serious?
When I bought my wife, a Range Rover. Wow. It was a gift. I was in the Riz stage, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah. So like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for the young bucks out there, like,
they know what Riz means.
You know what I'm saying? I was in the Riz situation where it was like, let me show you how we live. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the first two cars I bought were for my wife. I bought her a Range Rover that was garnet, Florida State colors. Okay. And I bought her a convertible Range Rover, one of one, got a body kit put on it. So it's the only car like that. It's out here right now. Yeah. For our wedding in 2018. Wow. So the first two cars I ever bought were for her. I didn't buy them for myself.
Would you buy yourself a car?
I didn't buy my first car until, last year.
What?
2024.
So I
bought a Nissan GTR Skyline.
Ooh, you got the Godzilla.
I got the Godzilla. See, you know cars.
Oh, I know cars.
Yes, I have the one of one GTR that they just put out last year, because
manual shift, or is it paddles?
It's paddle shifters, but it's also manual and automatic, so you can switch back and forth. Yeah. So I do have that. That's what I bought, and then the second one was I bought a Tesla truck, Cyber Beast.
Oh, okay. So I feel like you've been very smart with your money, because a lot of athletes who get into the NFL, they always go broke, right? So for you, now you ain't played in, I don't know how long babe, you want that car. Everybody's like, where does this motherfucker get this money from? Look at this motherfucker's contract. What did you do with your money to be able to make moves like this now? Because in my sport of mixed martial arts, we're not getting contracts like NFL players, right? It's like, here's 150 to show, 150 to win, $300,000. How do you pay taxes? 25% goes to the management, 20, depending on what tax bracket you're in, 20%'s gone. So you're basically walking away with 50%, right?
Correct.
So what a lot of professional athletes in mixed martial arts, they're still fighting to their 45. They just keep on fighting. What did you do to make moves like you did in your career to be able to be like, I'm getting GTR, even though I haven't played in like 4 or 5 years. You gonna get these 2 cars. I'm gonna get,
Right.
What did you do?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny you say that because it's why people are like, they're fighting Jake Paul, or they want to fight Jake Paul.
Of
like
course.
Mike Tyson fighting Jake Paul. I heard he got Parkinson's or something. It's just crazy, bro. But it's for me, I can tell you my first real money moment was that check that I got. So when I was signed in the NFL, it was a $21 million contract.
Woo!
Right? Second pick, $21 million contract. Signing bonus was $14 million.
What? Hey, wait.
Signing bonus was $14 million.
On top of the 21? Or
No. It came out of the 21.
Okay, but still,
I'm not complaining.
It was like, you don't give me $14 million just sign?
You know what I'm saying? But here's where it really hit me, because when you're growing up and you don't have money, you hear 21 million, you like, ooh, we in this thing, baby. $14 million signing bonus.
You gonna sign that goddamn check right now?
I sign that motherfucker fast as shit. So I sign it. They tell me, hey, it's going to get paid out over 6 months or whatever.
Yeah.
So then when I get the full signing bonus, I only got, and I say only respectfully, 6.9 million. So less than 50%.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I call my agent immediately.
Yeah.
I'm distraught. DJ, I'm distraught. I'm like, oh my God, they took all the money out. Where is the 14 million?
Yeah.
And he's like, Rob, it's taxes.
Yeah.
They have to take out this, and they got Social Security, and they got Medicaid, and they got this, and they got that, and the state's got to take its money. And I'm like, you didn't tell me that they were going to take half of the signing bonus.
Yeah.
And the reason it was such a big moment for me is you said a lot of players go broke.
Yeah.
But it's because they don't understand that. We're not financially literate. I wasn't financially literate when I first got into the NFL. I never had that kind of money.
Yeah.
My parents didn't sit me down and teach me how to balance a checkbook. Yeah. They were trying to balance their credit cards, right? They were trying to get out of debt.
Yeah.
So when that happened, I understand a player signs, he's a 5th round pick, and he signs a 4-year $3 million deal. Everyone in his circle's thinking, oh my God, he made it.
Yeah.
He's a millionaire.
Yeah.
But when you divide that down, he ain't making $1 million a year on a 4-year deal for $3 million. The math ain't mathing.
No.
Okay. And guess what? That deal's also not guaranteed.
Yeah.
So if he doesn't make it to that 4th year, he ain't getting the $3 million. And even that, he's not getting $3 million. He's getting 1.2.
Yeah, because taxes.
Because the taxes and everything else is coming out. Yeah. So now, if you don't know that, and you live a $3 million lifestyle, when you sign that contract, because you think to yourself, oh my God, I saw that $3 million. I can go buy $3 million worth of stuff.
Yeah.
You're going to be in $2 million worth of debt.
Wow.
So for me, that was my big moment of like, oh, wow. I didn't know that they were going to take that much money out of my contract. I didn't understand these different things. So I taught myself how to become financially literate, how to manage my bills. I didn't spend frivolously. Yeah. And luckily I didn't have that personality anyway. Yep. So I was able to manage my money. And now I can get back and be like, hey, I'm going to go buy this because I put that money away. I let that money work for me.
Yes.
Instead of me working for the money. Okay, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So now I'm in a great place. Our kids are taken care of for life. I made great money while I was in the NFL, and I have the luxury to be able to do what I want.
Yep.
So now when I do media, I'm not doing media because I need the money to stay alive or I need the money to stay afloat. Yep. Our expenses are low. Yep. We make sure that our money is working for us so that we don't have to bend over backwards to get things done to meet ends meet. Yep. And I think it's the best decision guys can make. Take that first money you get and continue to live a lifestyle like you don't even make $100,000 a year. Yeah. Because if you live $1 million lifestyle and you're not making $1 million, you're going to go broke. Yep. It's the bottom line.
I appreciate you sharing that because that's a big taboo in sports, right? They don't talk about the money. They just don't, right? It's like, we don't want you to know about it because we want you to keep coming back and we want you to line up on the line. We want to keep on fighting because if you teach financial literacy to anybody, especially professional athletes, they're like, boy, hang on, you're going to take that much money out of me. So then what do I do with the rest? they're like, do whatever you want. We'll be right here to sign another check for you, but right? And I appreciate you sharing it because it's something that's not very talked about in my sport of mixed martial arts because you see guys, they fight. I never forget, they used to do a thing called the Fighter Summit. They bring all the fighters together. Like, oh, we're going to talk about, taxes, what you're going to do and how you can make yourself more valuable and marketable and da-da-da-da. And then half the fighters are never pay taxes.
Oh, wow.
One of the athletes never paid taxes. The IRS came and seized his fucking his farm. And I was like, they took your farm. He goes, yeah, man, they took my fucking farm. So the next 3 fights I'm fighting, they getting paid. They getting my check.
Oh,
there was one athlete. He was from the UK. He never paid taxes in the US, and they never taught us that.
Wow.
And for me, when you said the words, make sure your money works harder then you have to work.
Right.
That's what my CPA told me. She goes, when you wake up, Demetrious, we want your money already in the gym working, right? Because you're 28 now. Yep. When you're 38, 10 years from now, I want you to call me like, hey, Carol, I think I want to be done. She goes, you know what, Demetrious? You live like a poor man. You could be done, right? Yeah. And so, but a lot of people don't talk about that. Yep. And I always wanted to know. I was like, okay, what did you do with your first check? Now here's the ending thing. What'd you do with your last check that came? Because now you don't get paid. Like for me, there's a point in time I was like, great fight, champ. There's your last check for whooping somebody's ass.
Right.
And there was a moment in my life, I was taking a shot. I was like, I don't get checks anymore for fighting. This is kind of hard. I ain't gonna lie. For the last 20 years, I was whooping motherfuckers' asses getting checks.
Yep.
So what did you do with your last check that came from the NFL? I was like, wow. RG3, thank you so much. You've been amazing.
Yep.
There you go, man.
Honestly, I put it into a 529.
Okay.
For our kids, and the reason was we have enough money in the bank account that we don't need to do a 529 account, right?
Yep.
And I'm sure you do as well. I'm not watching your pockets or pocket watching.
Yeah.
But I'm sure you have that available. But for that to grow for 18 years and not be touched is the smartest thing you can do.
Wow.
And I think a lot of people don't know about these opportunities that they have to do things for the future generations and take out death benefits and life insurance for themselves so that their kids can cash in on that when it's all said and done. You pay a little bit of money now, and in the future, 18, 20, 25, 30 years from now, it just...
I don't hear nothing.
You know what I'm
motherfuckers
saying?
are good.
We in heaven chilling. Like, oh, look at that. look at baby Gloria, Gambay, and G and Reese. They taken care of. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can spend all your money. You're gonna be fine. So I just it comes off again like cheesy or whatever.
No.
But it's more of
it's beautiful.
It's more of taking care of your children, your future family, your family name.
Yeah.
So that's what I did with that check. And, I always feel like you want to live for the now, but you got to plan for the future.
Yeah.
So we travel, we do things, we go see new places, and we can do that now more comfortably because we know no matter what happens to us, our kids will be taken care of.
That's what's up. Goddamn.
I got a question for you.
What's up?
Because I didn't get to ask you this on our podcast.
Yeah.
What would it take for you to come out of retirement?
Honestly, nothing.
Really? There's no like, I know, like, I would love to beat the shit out of Bryce Mitchell.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll kick his ass for all the juice. Okay. I think I read something where I'm 210 right now, but I could probably get down to like 185, 180, and he walks around at 175.
Yeah.
Now I can't fight him in MMA because he's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I understand that.
Yeah.
But if we put on some boxing gloves, I'd love to whip his ass.
Yeah.
And they can pay me about $1 million, $5 million to do that. I'll make that happen.
Yeah.
But for you, like, there's no amount of money that would make you get back in the octagon.
No. And the reason why is I felt that I reached my peak in fighting and understanding how to fight and implementing and executing that into a fight. And it's funny, you asked that. I just told the story in Thailand off camera. But when I lost to Henry and I left the UFC, I had a better opportunity to make more money.
Correct.
So I went over there and I went up to a different division, 135, and I was winning my fights. I got knocked out.
Yep.
Once I got knocked out, that's when I was like, okay, let's fix this.
Yeah.
And my coach was like, "Okay, my whole entire career, I was always hands up, move this way. You can't showboat. I can't use my athleticism."
Okay.
Because when I would train, we had a coach named Trevor Jackson. He was like, "You are fast. I want you to not use your speed when you spar." And I'm like, that's okay. I won't. He goes, "I want you to focus on being in the right place at the right time so you don't have to use your speed."
Okay.
So I never used any of my athletic ability when I would spar and train, meaning that I would and move and just like, come on, hit me. Like, play. They call it in Taekwondo. You learn that. You learn to be tricky on your feet. So once I fought Ratang, Matt was like, "Just walk forward. Just walk fucking forward. Just walk forward." And then I was in a very special bond with my two training partners that I travel with. I call it like the Asia arc.
Okay.
Because when I was in the UFC, it was me, Brad, Matt, Paul, and Joel Jameson. When I went to Asia, they said that Matt can't corner you anymore because he works for one championship.
Okay.
And you have to bring two people.
Okay.
And so Brad wasn't able to travel as much because we were gone for like 10, 15 days. He worked at Microsoft. So he kind of phased out of the team. So it was just me, James, and Tony. We would go over there and then we would fucking run it. So when I fought, it was like, that was a very special point in my career. But when I fought Ratang, I was like, just go forward, just go forward, just go forward. And I started to blossom into like a young teenager fighter. Right. Because after the first round, the second round, my boy James, he was like, "Look at that shit. He can't take that shit." He goes, "Look, you took all you." He was gassing you up. He was gassing me up. And he had like a hood. He had like a fucking hood way about fighting. And he was like, and I never experienced that. And he was like, "Look, you took that man's best fucking shot. And look, he fucking running now." And I was like, "Are you right? He is running. You're running." I submit him. Okay. Then it's like, "Okay, you about to run it back with Adriano." I lose my sister. And so then Matt was like, "Do the exact same thing." And Matt was very good about not telling you what you were good at.
Right.
He would force you to figure it out. He wouldn't tell you, like, he just wouldn't tell you. There was one point he goes, "Demetrious, Deej, who he calls me, he goes, you're good at fighting. You need to fight people. Yep. If you never fight them, then you'll never expose their weaknesses and you will never thrive."
It's true.
And so he was like, "You need to create the chaos. If there's no chaos created, it's going to take you longer to win the fight. You're going to win it, but it's going to take you longer to win it." So I was like, okay. So when I fought Adriano the second time, I was like, "Come on, motherfucker." I was like, "Come on, what you got?" I was showboating. He goes, and then in training, he goes, "You can do shit like that." And I was like, "Really?" He goes, "Yes. Like, you're athletic enough. Use your speed. Right. You can showboat." And I'm like, now you fucking tell me after 15 years of fighting, now you say I can act like, showboat? I beat Adriano. I'm like, boom, beat him. Beautiful flying knee, knock him out, walk off. And then they're like, "Hey, we want you to fight him again."
Okay.
And I was like, okay, so the same game plan, same training camp, 8 weeks again for the exact same person. So it was 16 weeks of studying the same style of fighting.
Right.
And at that point, I was like, I've reached the peak of mixed martial arts. I've reached it because we didn't go further and fight for somebody else. If I would have fought Kairat Akhmatov and then fought him again, I think my career got longer. So to sum this up, I feel like I've reached the pinnacle of my peak as a professional athlete. Okay. And for me to go back and try to fight for a certain 10 million, 15 million in mixed martial arts, I feel like I would do a disservice and disrespect the amount of art that I put together in that final year of my career. Okay. And that's why I feel like there's no amount of money. Like, now I'm on a different journey of jiu-jitsu where it feeds that, that competitive edge of me always learning and see if I can get better. But jiu-jitsu doesn't pay the bills. So it's a hobby.
I got you.
I can't be 5-6 days a week in a gym.
Right.
And so for me, and you don't see a lot of athletes in mixed martial arts go out as a champion.
Right.
"Oh, I'm gonna come back for one more fight. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Like,
so Judo did the same thing. He came back and lost. And
yep, Judo came back, did the same thing. Mm-hmm. I always blame myself because I told him we're training and I was still fighting. He was retired. And I was like, "Man, I should
get back in there."
I said, "Hey, I'm telling you right now." He goes, "Demetrious, man, you're still fighting." I was like, "Yeah, man." It's like, tell me another job you could find 5'3", showing up making 6 figures and whooping somebody's ass. He goes, "Right, Demetrious, you kind of right, man." Yeah. His ass come back, he fucking loses 2 in a row. I'm like, God, and I
felt bad for him. It's
I felt bad, but he's back making money.
Yep.
But at that time, he had this mystic aura around him. He was like,
he did.
He beat me, beat TJ Dillashaw, goes up, beats Dominic Cruz, beats Mom Rice. I was like, dude, fucking leave.
Yeah, you're
Just
good.
Get the fuck out. Same thing with Izzy. He's on a 3-fight losing streak. And it's like fuck. And it's the hardest thing for me. I was like, I saw GSP did it.
Yep.
He was like, I talked to him. I was like, can you still fight? He goes, yeah, I can still fight. But do I want to and do I need to? And I was like, do you? He goes, I don't want to fight. I don't need to fight. I got plenty of money and there's plenty of other things I can do to make money. Yeah. So there's no amount of money that bring me out of retirement. I'm happy doing my own thing, steering the ship, being there with my wife, the children, traveling, be able to have conversations with you. Because if I was still fighting, I'll be in the trenches like, come on, let's fucking go. God. So I was like, I'm done and I'm happy. And I think it's the best decision I've had. And, my wife, she helped me with it because, you never know. It's like, I feel like our wives know us the best because they've been with us through everything, our ups or downs. And I was like, man, I think she said, I knew this was your last training camp. This was your last training camp. I was like, nah. I was like, nah, I'm still good. And I'll never forget, I was hitting pads. I was like, I'm fucking tired of working hard. I am tired. And I was like, keep on hitting the motherfucking pads because we still got, 2 more rounds. And yeah, it's just a lot of work to be what I was. And I don't want to put forth that effort when I know I can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, you maximized it. I don't think you're lying. I think you're telling the truth.
Oh, yeah.
I think if it was like $20 million for a fight that you were interested in, I think you might change your mind.
Yeah.
But I really do. We talk about the whole Jake Paul, Mike Tyson thing. Yeah. That'd be like me fighting, I don't know, Joe Montana.
Yeah.
Like we fighting. Come on, Joe. Yeah. And they're like, hey, would you fight Joe Montana for $50 million on Netflix? I probably wouldn't fight him because I wouldn't want to hurt the man.
I mean, when you start talking money like that, like $50 million, it's
different.
It's different. But for me, I know me, I'll have to call the fucking game back up. Hey, James, what you doing now?
Hey, we back in this
you want $2 million? It's like, I don't, and that's one of the things I always tell my wife, that one, I don't want to go through my career, her resenting me.
Yeah.
Right?
It's y'all's time now.
It's our time. 2, I also don't want my teammates resenting me and forcing them to come back to training with me. I don't want that.
Makes sense.
Because mixed martial arts is a very selfish sport.
Yeah.
Because I'm the only one when you guys all thrive in a team, you saw like that, motherfucker, you get your bonus. Hey, everybody's winning, right?
Right.
But in mixed martial arts, there's only one person that's coming home with that big check. And then the coach is getting that check.
Yeah.
Right? Because when I help Jens Pulver, So
y'all don't pay your training partners?
No.
Wow.
And where I come from, my background, it might be different now.
Okay.
Right? Everybody has their own setup.
Right.
But for me, when Mizuno, when Sakurai, when Jens Pulver, when Tim Boach, when Matt Brown, Spencer Fisher, when all these guys came to AMC to train with us, I never got a dime. Wow. Nor do I deserve a dime. Because that's like the culture of mixed martial arts I come from. You're helping me. I'm helping you in your journey. And I hope when it's my time for that journey, you repay it back through letting me beat your body up.
No doubt.
Essentially, right?
No doubt.
Now, if you start making, once again, in MMA, we don't make 21 million, $50 million. It's like, hey, the biggest check I got from the UFC was $350,000 to show up.
Right.
380, then 40,000. So but after you do taxes, that's
why you guys fight for so long.
That's why we fight for so long. But like, if you're like Connor and you make,
man,
that, it's like, you know what, Artem, I'm going to take care of you, man. You ain't got to do bare knuckle fighting in Russia like you just did, right?
Yeah.
It's a different ball game where for me, I went through my camp, all my training. My dietitian was my wife.
Yep.
When I cut weight, it was me learning from Matt. Strength and conditioning, we had Joel. It was that's why a lot of people like, for how much I achieved in mixed martial arts, they're like, you weren't like my coach. One of my coaches, my friends, he goes, you're a fucking fluke. But what you had and what you were able to do in mixed martial arts, you shouldn't be where you were at. But you're athletic, you're a hard worker, and you were very intelligent. That's where you got to where you're at.
Yeah.
So, but once again, mixed martial arts is a very, very selfish sport.
Yeah.
Unlike football, where you guys are all winning, everybody's winning. You got 21 million. The running back, he probably just got 30 million. Everybody's happy. Where you can see a lot of resentment coming to mixed martial arts, and I don't want my teammates, having that. So
one other question I had for you about like cutting weight.
Yeah.
Did you have to cut a bunch of weight?
Oh, fuck yeah.
How much weight were you cutting for your fights at flyweight?
So when I cut to 125, I would walk around about 142.
Oh, okay.
And then I would diet down to 135. 135. And then that's when I start cutting out my 2 gallons of water. I'll water load for 2 weeks of water. Then once it got down to like, I think Thursday night, because we waiting Friday, yeah. Once it got down on Wednesday night, I would start cutting out the carbs. And then I'll have carbs in the morning. And then I would start just having a salad and the chicken, the protein, keep drinking the water. Then after Wednesday night-ish, I'll go down to 1 gallon. Mm-hmm. Then Thursday night, no more water, no more carbs. And it's basically fucking salad, no dressing, no lemon, dry ass chicken. It was so fucking bad one time. No, I'm not fucking around.
I believe you.
It was so bad. Like, once again, that's what I love about my team. Even after 8 fucking title defenses, still small crew. Me, Matt, and Brad. And I bring my father along. We were in Toronto. No, it was Montreal. I'm about to fight. And we're at dinner. And this woman, I find a spot I like, and they're going to accommodate me for what I need.
Right.
Keep going back there. It's fucking Thursday night. We're fucking there. The waitress is so fucking concerned for me. I'm sitting there like a black Skeletor, and she goes, and Matt's like, and he would always order my food because, you know me, I'll go fucking ham. I'll like, make a salt on that. And we're sitting there, and he goes, so I'm going to have the steak with the fries, the ketchup, and all that stuff. Alan, what do you want? Alan, my father-in-law, he goes, I'm going to take the steak too. Well done. I'm like, disgusted.
That is disgusting.
Right? And then she goes, okay, and what about for this young gentleman? He's going to have salad and nothing on it. Don't even put water on it.
Just lettuce.
And a chicken breast. No salt, everything off it. She goes, okay, I'm concerned. What are you guys doing with this little man right here, right?
I can imagine looking at you. She's like, chicken?
Yeah, that's it.
With some lettuce?
Yeah, she was like, what's his carbohydrates? She was literally concerned for me. And he goes, he's a professional athlete. He's going to be weighing it tomorrow. He's going to make we'll come back in here, right? She goes, okay, all right, eat it. Woke up that morning, 128. So I had to cut, 3 pounds? Yeah.
3 more pounds?
Yeah, 3 more pounds. I usually jump in a hot tub or a tub, boil myself, get down to 124, weigh in. Then the next day, we go back to that place. Then I blow back up.
You blew back up, right?
Back up to like 140, 142. Okay. I was my weight never really retained itself because I wasn't a big guy to begin with for 125 or one. I mean, now 125, I remember Ian McCall, he got up to like 157. So he was massive. Sheesh. But I'll blow back up to like 142. We went back to that restaurant. Same waitress. And she goes, oh, welcome back. I was starting to get my color back in me. I started to look black again. And she goes, okay, steak for you. And what about for this guy? What are you going to do for him? And Matt goes, he's going to have a salad with a great chicken. You're going to put all these things on it. And she goes, I'm so happy you guys are taking care of him now.
Him better.
But, those are the memories that, like, for me to go back to fight,
to go through that again.
Not to go through that again, because I wouldn't mind going through it. It would disrespect everything I went through to get to this point, to be able to walk out.
On your own accord.
On my own accord.
With all your faculties.
All my faculty and everybody in those memories, like,
yeah.
I wouldn't want, that's me spitting in their face like, I need more money, we're coming back, right? Yeah, even though they would love it, but I don't want to take the weight from them.
I've always been fascinated by the weight cuts, and as a non-fighter, like fighter in my own sport, but not, in the octagon.
Yeah.
I always wonder, why don't guys just fight at the weight they walk around at?
Because they want to have an advantage over the other guy.
Gotcha.
That's the only reason why. If I can walk around, and it makes sense, right? Right now I walk around like 147. So I haven't gotten much bigger since, fighting at 135 or 125, excuse me. But now when I compete, if I were to fight somebody, if I was to walk around like 165, like Aljamain Sterling, great friend of mine, good friend of mine, he walks around like 175 on off, right? 175, you say?
He was, I don't know, but
he's a big fucking dude. He's a big fucking dude, right? Big. And he cut down to 135.
Ooh.
And he would just be massive.
And mauling people.
Mauling motherfuckers. Yeah. And they grab him. He grabbed me. I was like, Jesus fucking Christ. I'm like, and then there was a point in time he was like, everybody's like, man, what would you think would happen if you and Demetrious Johnson fought? And I was sitting there, I was like, I'll fucking work him, right? And he goes, dude, he's just too small. He's just too small. And then we finally got got a chance to train together. And on his feet, he's longer. Yeah. But I was like, okay, the clinch, I feel like I have my way with you because I'm very comfortable in the clinch. But the grappling, he's just so fucking big. And that's why you like to see guys. Gotcha. And he's really good. Like, I'm not saying like just because he's bigger, he could beat me. He's truly fucking good. So when they say size doesn't matter, size does matter if everything is equal, right? Yeah. Like, if you're fighting somebody who's 5'5", 5'5", same size, weight, everything's equal, whoever has a skill is going to win. And so if that's like the mindset, if I'm going to fight somebody, if I can be bigger than him, then I can make up for the lack of, technique and all that shit. Yeah,
I was wondering if like everyone's doing it, is it giving you truly an advantage? But if Aljamain's coming down from 175 to 135, there's not a lot of people doing that.
But now but for the longevity of his career, he went up to 145 and he goes, I feel better. Even for me, at the end of my career, I went to 135, so 125. I was fighting hydrated. When I would take shots, I had brain. I had water in my brain.
I've heard a lot of fighters say that as they lose the weight, if they fight at like a really, really unnatural weight, their chin's not as strong. That they get more injuries. Like one of the guys, one of the producers was like, how do you hurt his back leading up to the fight? And I was like, well, when you start cutting that much weight, you're taking the water out of your muscles. You're taking the water out of your organs where your body's used to having that water in the organs and in the muscle. So you start doing fucking back. We all laughed because he was doing like, he does this shit where he's doing that. And we're like, he did it to try to impress Nina. And it was you're talking about the guy.
Arman Tsarukyan.
There you go. Who's out of the fight because of the back injury.
Back injury. And I'm like, guys, when you cut that much amount of weight, when you walk around, when you're training with that amount of weight on you, your body's accustomed to that water weight, and all your muscles are good. When you start depleting that shit and you're still doing that same shit, your muscles are like, hey, motherfucker, I know she here right now, but you're going to have to
calm down a little bit.
And that's why, for me, I'm always a big proponent of like now when I compete at 154. Okay. So I was like, I'm not cutting down to 141. I'm going 154. And everybody's like, you're too small. Like one of my professors goes, DJ, he's Brazilian. He goes, DJ, I think you need to go down 141. He goes, if you want to be champion, I was like, baby, I ain't cutting no more fucking weight. Right. I was like, if somebody beats me because they're stronger than me, kudos to him. Right. But I'm not cutting any more weight because I finally get the opportunity to actually let my body grow and be what it's supposed to be.
Maybe this is when you'll hit your growth spurt.
I'm waiting on it. I'm waiting on it.
That was my last one was because one of the best fighters right now. Yeah. Super exciting, Ilia Topuria. And it's like, would there ever be an opportunity? I know you're done. Yeah. But could he fight at your weight, or could you fight
at his weight?
At his weight.
Oh yeah, I could fight at his weight. I don't think you could fight.
You don't think he could get down to?
No. They're talking about him going up to 155, or potentially even not 170, but 155. And I think for him, he's a guy he's probably one of the best right now because the way he fights, he never overextends himself. Nah. Even when he does a combination, even when he hits pads, it's very methodical the way he goes about his business. And people are like, oh, how would that fight go between you and him? And this is part when I fight is I sit there and I strategically look at where his deficiencies are. And he's efficient. He doesn't have a lot of deficiencies.
He doesn't.
He doesn't. And so for me, I'm like, Kate, but he loves to fight in the pocket.
Yeah.
Right. And so for me, I'm like, okay, so if I'm going to do that, granted, the sizes are the same. If I try to move him, he's going to move. I was like, you would have to fight him in that middle of the void in the clinch game. Yep. Because when he gets there, he's going to be try to dig your body, and hopefully you can stop, boom, elbow, move, and then try to wrestle. You have to fight him. You cannot try to out trickster him
like Volk tried.
Like Volk did, right? You can't. Those are the worst people to fight is someone who wants to fucking fight.
Yeah, because Volk was moving really. He was moving really well. Great. But Topuria, he was putting together combinations and he was missing early. But then as he got his timing, that's why when Volk got dropped, it was so shocking. Yes, right. You're like, oh shit, he just smacked my guy. Yeah,
even when he fought Max.
Yeah,
right. I said. The hardest thing when you fight Ilia is that you have to fight him. Mm-hmm. You have to. Mm-hmm. If you ain't got the chin, it's like when you fight Rotang, right? When I fought Rotang, I was like, my coach was like, first round, we're going to fucking run. I was like, fuck that. I'm not going to let somebody bully me. Right. I'm going to use some technique and move, but I'm going to get hit. So when you fight Ilia, you're going to get hit.
Yes.
If you ain't got the chin,
Can't plan. Can't go get some.
You're going to have to be perfect for 25 minutes.
Yeah.
And all he needs is 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and that's all it needs. So when he fought Max, I was like, fuck, man. Max has got a chin.
He does.
They got a chin, but when
never been put down.
Never been put down. But when they started going and he hit with that right hand, I was like, fuck. I'm like, run. And then
stunned him.
Just stunned him.
He's just got unbelievable power. And
Yep.
I was actually at the UFC Performance Institute. I went through training for a day, got to spar with Forrest Griffin and did all that. This was 2 years ago now, I believe. And this was before Topuria fought. Who did he fight to win the title? Was it Volk?
Volkanovski.
Yeah, so it was before he fought Volkanovski. And I get in the octagon with him, and it's like taking a picture, and he's in there kind of like just shadow boxing, doing his thing. And I'm like, this guy is like, he's good.
You can tell, yeah.
There's this coach for Oregon, head coach named Dan Lanning.
Yep.
For their college football team, and I say he has a sinister joy about him. There's a sinister joy. About Topuria that lets you know, like, this guy's a little different.
Yep.
Not weird different.
No, you
not Sean Strickland different. You know what I'm saying? But like he's different in a way that you're like, you can't have an off day. Yeah. With him in the octagon.
Yeah. Nope.
He will find you.
Yep. He will find you eventually. He will find you eventually, and that's why I love watching him. Yeah. Because I was working out with some guys, and I'm like, nah, man, you gotta be. I was like, nah, I come to fight all the time. He goes, no, you don't. And I was like, what you mean? He goes, you're very tricky. Like, you don't realize you're tricky to get to, but you really are. And I'm like, really? And he's like, yeah. And so, but when I watch Ilia Topuria, he's going to come find you.
He's going to find you.
He's going to find you. And when he does, it's like, if you have a chin and you can withstand it and you can hit him just as back hard. So like Rodtang, Rodtang's about to fight a gentleman, Takura, and he's fast, kicks, and I'm like, you got to get ready for that fucking chin. Because when he fucking finds you, it's gonna be it's night. Yeah. Night. So there's nothing you can do. My man, RG3, I appreciate you coming on the podcast, man. Yeah, like, we can talk. There's so much more shit I wanted to ask you. But you were like, you fucking kidding me? 5 hours later, you're like, I'm sorry, honey, we were vibing out so
we
well.
We were vibing. No, we got to do it again.
Well, before let's go, talk to me about the Celebrity Sweat. Yeah. Like, talk to me about like what you got going on, what you got coming up. I enjoyed. Playing in the game. I can't wait to do it again. If I'm sorry, I'll let you know in that growth sport. If I can, if I can be 5'8", ain't nobody got a fucking chance with me when I'm quarterback.
I just want to get you the ball a couple times. Like, so Celebrity Sweat, the flag football game. It was my 3rd year doing it. They had a quarterback drop out last second. So 3 years ago, they asked me, hey, can you fill in and do this? Doug Flutie does it. He was on Tracy McGrady's team this past year, but he used to be the quarterback, does it all the time. He's getting a little older. Yeah. So they needed some more juice and a little bit younger demographic. So they brought me in, and the first year we got annihilated. We got beat by like 20 some odd points.
By Tracy's team?
By Tracy's team. Son of a bitch. Because Tracy, as you notice, will cheat nonstop. He changes the rules in the middle of the game.
You said I ain't changing the motherfucking rules. I'm on one today.
I am not changing the rules. So he took advantage of my kindness. Yeah. Last year we ended up winning on a Hail Mary.
Oh wow.
And so this year I came in with a different mindset. And it's like, we're here. Yep. We're doing this for the military. Yep. We're doing this for the young men and women at the high school there in New Orleans, Louisiana, to give back to them, to show them what you're supposed to do for your community when you make it. Yep. But the mindset was, we're going to go win. Yeah. And we won. Yeah. And we dominated them and we beat them by 20. Yeah. And I just feel like doing those things are fun. Yeah. I've done it with the NFL. I've done it with Celebrity Sweat. I feel like our game is much more of a game than the NFL's version, which is much more of a streamer, content creator, rapper, rapist. I don't know the women and the men rappers out there doing their thing. The musicians, the artists.
Yeah, the artists. You're a rapper. You disrespect me right now, my boy.
I don't know. He, them, she, they. I don't know. But I enjoy it. I actually want everyone to play. If you notice, by the time we finished, we had like one guy, because other people were hurt. Yep. NLE Choppa got hurt. Yep. We had
Dustin Poirier. We had to pull his ass off the field.
Like, you got your retirement fight coming up. Get off the field. What are you doing? So like, I enjoy doing that, and in the Out of Pocket with RG3. being able to host that show with my wife and have these interesting conversations across football, basketball, MMA, acting, musicians. Like, to me, there's an intersection between sports and entertainment, and we want to be in that and be able to talk to people like yourself to learn things. Yeah. Like, I learned more. I'm an MMA fan. Yeah. But I learned more about weight cutting and the strategy, just having this conversation with you and having the conversation on our podcast about Conor and Israel and how you overcome all these things. So there's a chance that I end up getting back into what I call legacy media, the Foxes, the NBCs, the CBSs, the NFL networks. And I enjoy that process because that's all football. Yeah. But I really want to dive into the MMA fandom and just the MMA network, because I'm fascinated with what you guys do. Yep. In the same way that I think a lot of MMA fighters are fascinated with what we do. But there's a difference. And to me, there's been some great football players. Jeff Neal, we talked about him. He was we were high school teammates. He is in the top level in the UFC. But then for every Jeff Neal, there's a Greg Hardy. Okay. And everybody's happy that Greg Hardy's getting his ass kicked. Okay. You know what I'm saying? And, no offense to Greg, but I think for me and what I want to accomplish and what me and my wife want to do, we just want to travel the world. Yeah. And MMA is a global sport. Yep. The UFC won championship. We're not going to discriminate against anybody in that regard. We want to go to the biggest events. We want to go to the different countries. We want to have fun. We want to see you at those events and do joint pods. I'm like, we want to work with people who are good people. We think that you and your wife and your family are good people. That's been our experience. And that's what we're looking to do, because that's fun. Yeah. And we can do that forever. Yeah. We don't have to be up here trying to stir up whatever. We can talk to interesting people, have those conversations. And there's nothing better than this. Yeah. Being able to hang out, bro out, and then bring the wives on. And now we familying it out. I don't think, is there a name for like broing it out with the wives? What is that called?
The bunnies and the niggas.
That's good. I like that. That's a good one. That's some good merch.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Bunnies and the Niggas. I'm Demetrious Johnson. That's RG3, my brother, and here are two snow bunnies, Destiny and Greta.
Gosh.
Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell to go live.
Our first segment is playing in the snow.
Yeah.
Where do you go?
My God. Man, RG3, this has been a pleasure. Make sure you guys go check out my man, Celebrity Sweating, RG3 Out of the Pocket podcast.
Appreciate that, man.
I'm your host, Demetrious Johnson, and that is my guest, RG3. Brother, I appreciate you, man.
Thank you, man. Appreciate this. We'll do it again soon.
Oh, fuck yeah, absolutely. Niggas in the buddy.
Niggas in the buddy.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the MightyCast, and we're going to recap everything we just went through with our guest. This is the part of the episode we call the Mighty Recap. Our guest was RG3. What an absolutely amazing human. Like, sitting here talking to him, I was like, you are selfless. You're like, very humble. And when somebody, I feel, in any sport, baseball, basketball, football, when they get to that status where the amount of money he's made, the amount of things he's gone through, they're not humble. It's very rare to come across athletes that are super humble to a stranger, right? Because this is our second encounter we've ever met each other. And it was almost like greeting a family member into the house. Like, hey, what's going on, man? And catching up. We played Celebrity Sweat with him. And to hear him talk about, when he was a kid, he knew that he was fast. He didn't know he was, a genetic specimen above everybody else, which I think he probably was. But for him to pinpoint, he was like, it was the 7th or 8th grade where he was like, okay, I can probably take this a little bit serious. But he kept on doing other sports, which I feel in today's age, with kids are like, nope, you're going to be one sport athlete. You're going to be the best at it. And they're going to continue to go all the way through college. And he didn't do that way. He did a lot of different things different, and it was a breath of fresh air to hear him talk about that.
Yeah, totally. I thought it was interesting too. He started football pretty late.
Yeah.
Like, I thought someone who was the number 2 pick in the draft at the time would have been a lifelong football player, but he started in what, middle school, I think you said?
Middle school. And his first interaction of him seeing football was when he was in Olympia at the Seattle Seahawks game.
Yeah, and he said that what did he the first game he started they won like 60-6 or something like that.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I think he's downplaying the athleticism a little bit.
I know. I was like, and he has kids, I have kids, and you can see like okay, this kid does a backflip. Like I was playing, we were in Vegas, and my kids played their first pick-me-up football game. Two little kids are walking and goes, can we play? My kids are older, but one of the kids got the ball, outran Tyron and Maverick, and then when he got to the end zone, he spiked it and just busted out a backflip. And I was like, you little athletic motherfucker.
Some of these kids are built different.
Just built different, right? Not that, you can tell he just had that extra spice to him. Like, he just, boom, he just athletic. And for him to like you said, downplay it, I think he was, the alpha male amongst his peers growing up.
Yeah, I think so too. But it was so cool seeing his humility at the same time. Like being that guy who was faster than everyone, who first game you destroy everyone, you get bumped up to the A team after the first game, being the number 2 pick, making millions of dollars, yet he's still just a guy that you could grab a beer with, do anything with, and seems super cool. So that was awesome to see.
Yeah. And to talk about his injury and how the beginning, at that time in football, you could light up the quarterback. Because when we watch NFL now, these motherfuckers, it's almost
like the NBA these days.
Yeah, it's not even the right sport. It was like, what is going on? And I gotta respect what they're doing, because they are, at the end of the day, we want every player to go home to their wives, to their children, to their family members, healthy, and be able to continue their career and have a long lasting career so they can make enough money to where when they do retire, they could be sitting like RG3 is, right? Sitting pretty happy, can travel the world wherever they want. But for him to go to that time period in NFL football where you could just light the fucking quarterback up, and hearing the stories of how, him playing injured and him being selfless, saying, I'm not doing this for myself. I'm doing it for the other 10 guys on the line. Yeah. I'm doing it for these guys to put my body in line, and potentially having, a career-ending injury be even longer, right? Because we talk about what would happen if they say, you know what, we're pulling you out. We're going to get you with, I wanted to ask him, what did you do to recover from an ACL injury, right? Because that's one of the worst injuries you recover from. Did he go to, Panama to get stem cells? Did he do, cryotherapy? What did he do? But imagine if they would have pulled him out and let him heal. What would it like? Could
have been an extra 8 figures in the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's brutal to think about. And I think it's cool too to see behind the curtain. Yep. That even the quarterback who probably gets touched or injured the least amount of any player on the team is still almost like an MMA fighter going into the game injured, going into the game banged up. And so I'm curious, do more fighters or more NFL players fight or play while they're injured?
I think more NFL players play more injured because they're playing more often than MMA guys. I only fight twice or 3 times a year. Yeah. If I'm lucky. So that amount of times that I get the opportunity to fight, am I going to be injured? It's almost like rolling a dice, I feel like. Yeah. Where NFL players like, okay, you play this game injury free. Oh, that last game I got tackled pretty hard. I have a bruised rib. Oh, I got to play. I got to go. Oh, that bruised rib. Now my right knee hurts. Oh, this hurts. I got to keep on playing. Probably back in the day, that's what it was probably like.
They used to give those guys some pretty strong painkillers too, and just send them out there. One shot, boom, ready to roll.
He's all fucking back. He's faster than everyone. Was like, I'm back. Let's get it. Let's go. But it's crazy to see him take that experience that he had in NFL and not having any bitterness towards the NFL, what happened in his career, and he said it made him a better man. It made him a better person. Right? Because if those injuries never did happen to him, who knows how he would be? Would he even be where would he even be right now? And I really enjoyed that part, because that's where I seen him was when I was like, even the wife, Destiny, she was like, why is that he's injured? Why is he playing? That's what everybody remembers. And he did some amazing things in his career, but that's the first time I was like, man, why are they fucking playing him? Man, he should be playing right now. And I'm glad he kind of pulled the curtain behind, what really went on in that time in the NFL when he was playing.
Yeah. And I liked when you brought up too, what'd you do with your first check and your first bonus?
Yeah.
$14 million bonus. I'm like, sheesh.
Then half gone.
Yeah.
Half gone.
Well, it's still 7.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
That's still more than what? 99% of UFC fighters making their career?
Yeah. And I said it on the podcast, it's very taboo for people to talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it shouldn't be taboo, because to learn financial literacy, you have to understand what people do with their money and what they do, because he's 20. I think he said he was 22 when he came to that money.
Mm-hmm.
So, you get $14 million signing contract, half of it's gone. You get $7.1 million, and it's like, what do you do? What if somebody dropped $7.1 million in your lap right now? What would you do with it? You'd be like, I don't know. You'd be like, I don't know, right? It's
Vegas, no.
Vegas, all the black and double this money, right? But I think it's cool to hear an athlete say that, because he's not one of the other, numbers of the NFL that he went broke.
Yeah.
He's broke. But you see him at the end of his career, he ain't even playing. He ain't even getting checks now. He just got himself a Nissan GTR. That's a 6-figure car, ladies and gentlemen. Then he just got himself a Cybertruck. That's a 6-figure car, ladies and gentlemen. His wife's got a Range Rover, and she's also in a car. Granted, I'm sure he has, a corporation. He's running everything and doing it correctly. But you don't see people making that type of purchases when they're not even active as an athlete.
Yeah.
Right? You see that just got that signing bonus. You get a car. You get a car. You get a house. And he did it the opposite. And it was a breath of fresh air to hear another athlete talk about what he did with his money and his signing bonus, and then what he did with his last check.
Mm-hmm.
For anybody out there who don't know what a 529 plan is, a 529 plan is a college plan that you could do for your children and how it works. I'm not going to break down how it works, but it's a great thing to do for the children, because typically, let's say Tyron goes to college and he only uses $50,000 of the money. The other, whatever's left, can go to the next child, then the next child, and then it could be used amongst not just college, it could be just education purposes whatsoever, dorm room, all that stuff. So
party fund.
If you're going to a great college, frat house where they're going to have lots of parties, and go to that as well. But other than that, I think it was an amazing podcast to be able to have RG3. And I love how we get the opportunity to talk to somebody outside of mixed martial arts.
Yeah.
Because to hear him say, like, I don't want to just talk to football players. Same thing. I don't want to always talk to MMA guys, because I heard that story before, right? I always have to know where they started and where they came from and how they navigate their career. But to have a breath of fresh air to talk to RG3, somebody you watch play, you knew a lot of him. You knew about his ESPN days of him being a color analyst. And you're like, no, we need to talk to RG3.
Yeah, because I was curious too, because he loves MMA.
Yeah.
Did you know if he trains?
I don't think he does.
Okay, because he was calling out Bryce Mitchell. I'm like,
yeah. And he's very knowledgeable in the sport.
Yeah.
He was like, Alex Volkanovski fighting Ilia Topuria fighting Max Holloway. And then he was like, oh yeah, after we got off camera, he was like, yeah, the next big fight card is March 3rd. Alex Pereira versus Ankalaev. Like, he knows his shit, and it's dope. So I hope he stays in his space, because I think he has a great energy, great charisma, him and his wife. And I know he did Dustin. I know he did Justin Gaethje. So I love to see how far he dabbles into the mixed martial arts community.
Yeah, maybe we can do a Mighty journey training him to fight Ocho Cinco or something like
that.
Hey,
I like that. I think we can make that happen.
Yeah.
I'll let him. And he's still so fast. So fast. When we played, I was like, fuck. I was like, but here's the thing that's scary. It's like, when I train, people are like, it's too different though. When you see him run, and obviously he's not in the NFL anymore, it's like, fuck, if you're that fast, maybe he still could be in the NFL, right? Because he's healthy now, he's still fast. He said 2 years ago he's running a 4.5 and 40. I thought
he said 4.2.
I think he said 4.2.
Insane. Yeah.
Like, fuck, man, I should ask him, would you still play if they allowed you to play?
Yeah.
He threw me off. He got me off fucking track, because he started asking questions to me. It's my goddamn podcast. I want to know about you.
He turned the tables.
Yeah. Damn. Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this episode of the MightyCast and the MightyRecap, please leave a like, subscribe. Also, hit the bell to when we go live, and let me know down in the comment section below what you guys thought was the best part of the podcast. Was it him talking about what he did with his money, or was it he talking about when he met his wife? What was it? As always, I am your host, Demetrious Johnson, and this is my co-producer, Nick Pappas. I call him my Italian friend. He's not really Italian, but he has hair like he's an Italian. He's a co-producer. This man is also behind the camera. And please leave a like, subscribe, and we will see you guys at the next episode of the MightyCast.